You guys are gonna watch me
throwing dressing on her fucking computer. She's trying to sabotage her life. She's trying to kill her computer. She's trying to make it so she can't work.
I'm just trying to fucking eat. I'm so hungry. So hungry.
Dude, when I was sending you those videos from like early stuff, man, like the first one was like our very first like
so embarrassing.
Practice.
So embarrassing.
We like couldn't figure out how to do the sound, couldn't figure out why we couldn't hear each other. One half of us could hear, the other one couldn't. Like it was funny.
Do you remember when I messaged you and CJ and I was like, I don't get it, guys. I've tried everything. And then I literally was fucking around and I just pushed up the little thing and I was like, oh. It's just this little
or like
button,
not
right?
plugging your headphones in. So
Yep. Also, guys, just letting you know, this first half is gonna also be ASMR.
It is not ASMR for me, let me be clear. I hate you right now.
Can you hear it?
Yes!
I just did the white girl thing. I know y'all saw on TikTok.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Sorry, girls gotta eat. Your girl hungry.
This is, you know what? I think I had more recordings, but Zoom only gives you like so much space with all the like the saved recordings or whatever. So I think I deleted like a fuck ton before, way before we even knew that we were gonna do anything like this. But I think it's cool to show like the evolution and growth, you know. I think it's funny and people think we're funny, so that's always nice.
I think we're funny.
I mean, agreed. I can't ever just watch stuff of us without fucking cracking up, whether it's because I'm reliving that moment like it was yesterday, or just because we're fucking funny and like the video is funny. Like,
yes. Same. As I'm like,
I couldn't finish my weekly Chipotle. It was too much. Like the burrito was like too heavy. It was like so much burrito.
I'll put that bitch in a container and save it for later.
I couldn't. I was like, even looking at it, I was like, oh, I really don't need to eat that. It was too much.
Your girl does not waste food.
I mean, I don't like to either, but I was just like, yikes.
Here's the thing. Come Sunday, you're gonna want that burrito. You're gonna be like,
oh, I'm sure.
I
have like a little bit of guac.
Sounds good.
I got like a side order of like just guac because I have chips at home, so that'll tide me over. Also, in one of the videos, my hair is like this. Like, why didn't you tell me like an idiot?
Why didn't you tell me I look like an idiot in almost every video? You just wanted me to
look dumb? You just wanted me to look dumb on the video? That's why?
What video?
Just got fucking... Hey, Alani New doesn't sponsor us, but I'm just saying, like, we so it was the first one that like the practice one that we did. My hair was this like the whole fucking time.
Hey,
just looking like a big dum-dum.
Chicken Farmers of America, meat and eggs, sponsor us.
Eggland's best, is that a thing?
I literally like this is ingrained. I don't know why I keep doing that.
Are you eating a salad or are you eating just hard-boiled eggs?
Pasta salad.
Oh, interesting.
It looks disgusting, but it's delicious. If you haven't tried putting ranch on your pasta salad, get the fuck out of my face.
Man, you know how bad.
So
First of all, I miss pizza, period. And like end of statement. I miss pizza, but I miss slathering my pizza with ranch.
Ranch is so good. Hidden Valley Ranch.
Yeah.
Please.
It's magic. Yes. 1,000,000%.
Just hand me a bottle.
I tried a like dairy-free, fucking all the things free ranch. Guess what? It still did. Fucked up my stomach. And I was like, okay, so I'm just never going to eat ranch the rest of my life because it's just going to make me feel like garbage. It was a very sad moment.
Do the Hidden Valley packet dry seasoning have milk in it?
I'm not sure. I would assume, but I'm not sure. Just like I didn't think them fucking gluten-free pancake mixes would have milk in it. I was like, okay.
You need milk for pancakes. Unless it's like the Bisquick shaken for it. That stuff I'm like, there's so many chemicals in there.
I was gonna say it still tastes good, but like I don't know what's in it. I don't know what's in it.
I wonder if you do the Hidden Valley Ranch, the mix, if it doesn't have
What do you mix it with to make the dressing though?
Yogurt, but you could do a Greek yogurt or a dairy-free yogurt.
Yes. But then I
Or,
feel weird because
ooh,
then wouldn't it taste like coconut milk or almond milk?
depending on what yogurt you use, no. Coconut milk, yes. I wouldn't do coconut, but I
Yeah.
would do like an oat or a almond or a cashew.
Mm.
Cashew would make it really creamy. You you could soak cashews. Bro, bitch, I just figured out ranch for you. Sophia, come here.
Self, write this down.
Right? Immediately. Come here. Go inside the drawer next to the stove, and there's a ranch packet in there. Go grab it. Because I need no.
Don't ask me questions. Just do what I ask you to.
Questioning me.
That's their job, bro.
Because it's home ec right now. I don't know if anybody knows this. This is going to be the episode after I had the whole ass terrible day.
It's just been a
So,
fucking
she's
shit
home.
week, dude. It's been a
Mhm.
shit week. It really has. And I hate to be like a negative Nancy about it, but like
Here's
Bro,
the
I
thing.
just
We're
thought
not
there
being a
was-
negative Nancy.
curveball.
You're not being-
curveball.
Yeah, you're not being a negative Nancy when you're acknowledging hard shit.
True.
You're not like, oh, my life is over and I can't do
Right.
anything. You still got up and lived your life, but you can
I
acknowledge when
absolutely
hard
did.
shit happens.
I absolutely did.
Because I'm like,
Tired. Bend your fork in half.
my metaphor.
I can't find it, so here you go.
No, that has milk in it. Next to the goat.
What? Next to what?
Next to the stove on the right side, there are packets in there. Not the side that I put the salt in, but the other side.
Is it on the right side or the left? Is there cabinets on
Right.
the right side?
Mm-hmm.
Or drawers on the right side? I thought it was on the
Mhm.
left.
There's packets in there, honey.
Bro, I don't
Oh,
even.
she just said, oh, yeah, there is.
Uh-huh. I can't find it. Really? It's 2 feet in front of your face.
It's literally
It's
screaming
waving
at you.
It's waving at you from the drawer.
Huh? What?
This is my ranch.
Is there a Fiesta Ranch in there?
There's
Bring me all the packets.
what?
All the packets. I want them all. Packets.
Just take the drawer out of the cabinet and bring the whole drawer to
Good.
your
Just
place.
remind me. Yes.
That's what you want?
Did
You
ranch packet.
you didn't say seasoning.
Listen. Take this. Look. I'm not here for it. Take this. Put it. Shut the door.
Tom needs to get off TikTok. I know.
What are you
Go.
gonna use that for? You have
Slap
nothing
you with
to
it. I'm
use.
just kidding. We don't have our kids. I'm kidding.
It has milk in it.
Like powdered milk, I'm sure, right? Well,
Mhm.
obviously.
Does that bother you?
I don't know. Any sort of milk of any kind bothers me. Like almond and coconut is okay, right? But
I wonder if
Regular
we take this. So as I was saying, you take cashews, soak them in hot water for at least an hour. Then you blend them. You drain the water, blend them up, gets to a nice creamy consistency. Put this bitch in, blend it up. You got your ranch. I would, if you were going to use it for like the dressing, I would use it sparingly because obviously cashews are high
Right.
in fat. So it's not like you're
That
just gonna be
and
like,
I think-
ah.
I think some nuts fuck me up. Like I don't think I'm supposed to eat peanuts. Fucking
Peanuts are disgusting unless it's peanut butter.
okay, but my ex sent home healthy trail mix for Bug, and it was like all my favorite things. It was like
The healthy trail mix?
like peanut butter chocolate trail mix. So there was like puppy chow, little baby Reese's peanut butter cups, peanuts.
Here's the thing. I don't think that fucked her stomach up. I think it was the Reese's peanut butter cups and
No.
the other chocolate and other shit. I think that
I
fucked her
eat-
stomach up, Stephanie.
I eat Reese's peanut butter cups every day. I get the little sample, like small little baby ones, and I eat them every day. I think it was the peanuts because I think even I haven't had regular peanut butter in a while. I don't know, man.
We did PB&J's.
That's true.
Or did you eat one?
I did. That is
Oh,
true.
okay.
And that was regular peanut butter. That's true.
It was probably hard to see if that messed your stomach up though, because your whole body was probably wrecked the next way. It was wrecked.
Yes.
We talked about it. Anyways, enough of this tomfoolery. Now that I'm done eating.
Enough of this malarkey. Let's get to business.
Okay. Ready for it?
I'm ready.
3. Wait, do I count down?
Oh my God. I didn't even open my fucking Audacity. Is your sound?
Oh! Fucking idiot.
Bro, thank God I fucking realized that would have been awful. I mean,
I would have been
the Zoom recording,
so
but
mad. I would have been so mad.
Jesus Christ, you guys. This is
But
what happens when you don't record for weeks. You fucking forget what you're doing.
Literally. Okay, I've got that and I want to make sure. Okay, that's my only window. I'm going to enter. Gosh, that would have been so freaking terrible. I mean, obviously we were still at the Zoom thing, but man.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been kind of interested though.
Bubba, close your door, please. I can hear your Legos.
Discard. We already saved that podcast.
Excuse me.
It would have been pretty. I'm recording now. It would have been pretty funny
Same.
to see us recognize it halfway through the recording. We would have been like, oh.
Yes. Kind of like the time that we recorded and realized that it didn't record, 10 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, I need to. I'm sorry if you guys can hear any beeping. There's construction directly outside of my house because they're to the point in the road where they're taking all the rubble and shit out. So I've just literally since 7 a.m. this morning, just dump truck after dump truck, backing all the way down my street, getting it, leaving, backing all the way down my street, getting it, leaving. I'm like, okay, guys. Okay, anyways.
Okay.
Ready.
I'm
gonna count up. I don't know. I tried to say 3, 2, 1. That was down.
We're changing it. Oh, okay.
No, I always count up. I just literally tried to count down. I always say 1, 2, 3.
Oh, you're right. You do.
Yeah. I was like 3, and I was like, well, that felt weird. No, thank you. Okay. Let's just stay like this.
I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm just gonna do the whole podcast like this.
1, 2, 3. It always is
Spot on for me. Spot on for me.
And that was such an aggressive clap. Are you okay? That was that. I mean, the desk shook. Are you okay? I was like, fucking this fucking week. Anyways,
I mean, fair. Yes.
Yes. So, hello, and welcome. Here is the fucked up thing. We didn't discuss which topic are we doing first.
I figured we'd tackle grief first.
Yes, we have been going through it this week. We have been going through it this week. I had half the mind to go on the podcast page and just record me crying and be like, we're real people.
Yes.
We are not always happy.
I attribute it to the new moon because the new moon for me always fucks me up. Getting back in the swing of a school routine and just like, I don't know. I don't want to say everything, but I feel like I kept telling people, I feel like I'm being tested, but I don't know what the fuck the test is about. Like, what are we trying to figure out here? Right? Like, what is the lesson I'm trying to be taught in this moment? Because I feel like there's 87 things going on and I'm kind of over it.
Reoccurring theme with my clients, myself, you, and other people I know is that it feels like this transition period, but we don't know what we're transitioning to. It's just that it is. And what I've been trying to remind people is like the state of the United States is pretty rough. The state of the world is also not great. We have no idea what's happening with the pandemic, to be completely honest. And then transition to school, transition back to stricter routines. There's so many things that have been going on that are that require so many moving parts that it's been really difficult. So I think everybody, let's validate and honor that for ourselves because holy shit.
Yes, it has been a lot. A lot. And I also feel like there is, I don't want to say it's a theme, but I feel like you get this, right? Where we get really overwhelmed and we're so busy with work and it feels like sessions are never ending, right? We don't have time to catch up. And then we start to think like, oh my God, I just need a little bit of a break. And then that break comes because people aren't showing up or aren't scheduling. And you're like, I can't have that though. So like there has to be,
I'm never going to make it.
Between. Yeah.
I'm never going to make it.
Something in between that I'm like, okay with, because this isn't it. So yeah. This week, a really big theme, I think, for my clients has been whether it's like my clients or the gang guidance that I do with the Babe Gang or even myself, radical acceptance has come up a lot. which actually ties into our topic for today pretty well.
It does. It does. Yeah. So I took notes in my bullet. I love it. I took notes in my bullet journal.
I was like, I'm coming prepared for this fucking topic. I am coming prepared.
And that's the thing. I feel like this is a topic known by many, however, not understood. And I feel as if I was in the not understanding category as well. But I did. I felt like it was like this weird catch-22, not catch-22, but weird ambivalent of I get it, but I don't get it, but I get it. But I don't necessarily understand, but I kind of do. So weird, right?
Like I more so understood it from a personal level of me experiencing my own grief versus being able to, not that I've never helped somebody with grief issues, right? But as opposed to being a professional that helps with grief.
Yeah.
I am by no means a bereavement counselor. That is a whole nother set of skills that I do not have.
Never. And you can just add that to the list of shit I'm not going to do next to eating disorders and aorta counseling. Yes. No, thank you.
Yes.
No, thank you.
That is a very, very niche, specialized, you really got to hone in your skills for those things specifically. Yes, we can absolutely help somebody process through grief, but there's processes that we don't know. So we're coming at this from a place of our own personal experience and also the research that we've done, right? There are concepts and things that we understand. That we understand, but again, I think just I think working with autism, right? That is a very niche career, and that takes a lot of special skills that not just anybody has.
I agree.
So yeah, that's my rant
about
that.
Yes. So I spent Tuesday just listening to grief TED Talks. Which then kind of set me into a depressive spiral for a moment. I was like, wow, I'm really sad. These are really sad stories that I'm listening to. But yeah, I will discuss a really interesting takeaway for me. I'm going to mark off what I say so I don't repeat that shit, because this might be a long one. When it was discussed in one of the TED Talks that I listened to, that grief is a lot like fear, and it is fear because it's the fear of the unknown of what's to come, and also the fear of permanency of things, and the fear of is it going to be like this all the time? What if this is the new normal?
Sure.
Which I was like, what? Yeah, that is 100. That was a really big point for me because it is. It's there are still stages in grief. So grief is a multitasking emotion, right? So there's stages, and none of the stages are sequential.
Sure.
It is a very,
I think it's all over the map, right?
It's a very fluid emotion.
One, you go that one. Sure.
Yeah. Because one aspect of it might send you over, 3 stages over here, but then send you to a different stage, and you just vacillate between them, I think, until you come to this understanding. And I've got 3 tasks to take place so that you can recover that we can discuss about, because one of our coworkers lent me a book on grief so I could hopefully better serve one of my clients. So I also read that, not read it, I'm trying to be Steph. However, I don't read like that. Only Harry Potter books, because that was a 2-dayer, and I was like, man, I love Harry Potter, because I love it. So I skimmed, but a lot of it too was teaching us things that we already knew. I don't need to talk about Elizabeth Kluber, whatever, her stages of death and dying. I know that those stages of death and dying are. And so discussing that, I found 2, 5 dimensions of grief, and then 3 tasks to take place to recover. Those 2 chunks were really helpful. So that's what I thought. So let me preface this before we go anywhere. Grief isn't just about death. Let's say that right here, right now. These steps can apply to divorce,
it's about loss.
Yes, loss, any type of loss. And it doesn't matter the severity of the connection. If your perception is that that person, thing, whatever it was, meant something to me and had an important role in my life, then that's loss. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a multitasking emotion, right? So there are different stages. Like I said, we move in and out. What I also liked, one of the takeaways from one of the TED Talks I watched, is that there was this reoccurring theme of that people who have not experienced the loss of whatever it is, there has been this push by family, friends, coworkers, other people in this person's life have always had this, well, you need to move forward. We really need to get moving, move forward to the next. And that is just that person's inability to sit in vulnerability with you, with where you're at, to sit in that sadness, to sit in that loss, that grief, to have, or to allow that expression of that emotion. Does that make sense?
I think there's that side of it, right? Where it's like, well, I mean, you really need to move on at this point. Or then the flip side of the judgment of like, wow, you're moving on really fast, right? Like, yeah, who are you to tell me how fast I can and can't do something, right? And I think also, that's where it gets, I don't want to say black and white, right? But there's like a dichotomy between the two. And then where's the in between? How can we kind of not compromise, but how can we come to the middle where it's like a comfortable situation for all parties involved, right?
But here's the thing, we're not making all parties involved comfortable. How are you comfortable? Sure. And if you're comfortable with what you are doing, then that's all that matters. I could give a fuck about what somebody else thinks about how I mourn the loss of somebody or my grandma or whatever. I could give a fuck if you're not comfortable with it.
Right. And then it's like, well, we just don't talk about it. Right. If you don't like what I'm doing with my life, then I won't talk to you about it.
Absolutely. And then that's when we go outward. If our support circle, our inner support circle is not being able to show up for us, not validating us, not being able to just be there, which they don't have to be. Sometimes that is too hard for somebody. So just because they're not there for you or don't know how to be there for you doesn't mean we're going to fault them and shit all over them because they don't know how, right? But that means, again, we focus on what we can control. If my family or immediate family or friends can't support me for whatever reason, then I need to take control of the situation and find a support group, a group on Facebook of people who have experienced the loss of blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I need to find people who are like me, who have had similar experiences and have that validated.
So I don't feel so alone.
Yeah. So it doesn't feel like we're in this isolation. So what I found super interesting in the reading from the book before you can talk about your notes and stuff, but this was so interesting. So this is an excerpt from the book. So it says, in the early decades of the 20th century, a significant and sudden change, death, once a public and communal event, became private. Progressively hidden from the public view, dying in a home now moved to the hospital. Funerals that were open or celebrations of life were now closed. It's almost as if we've tacked on this taboo or like shameful nature to it. And so because we don't necessarily understand something, or it's not in plain view for us to ask questions about and become comfortable with, it becomes this shame topic. I was like, holy shit. And that was on, I think I listened to a grief podcast before because I had a client who was dealing with a very big situation with the loss of a partner. I was trying to find ways to be able to help her and show up for her because I was like, I don't know the first thing about this. Yeah. I've lost people, but it's all made sense. It's followed that trajectory of, it makes sense. I've lost animals suddenly, and that I love animals, so that was hard. However, I don't think that takes the place of a partner. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that, I would experience that, I think, then a tenfold, but neither here nor there. So I was listening to a podcast. It was the Unfuck Your Brain podcast with Cara Lowenthal, and she discussed how it is this, and I'm not taking anything verbatim because I don't remember exactly what she said. So this is all my perception and remembering of what I heard. Was that she discussed this topic too, of talking about that it was once like out in the open where it was talked about, but now it's hidden. And so that is what cultivates this fear of dying, is because it's the fear of the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what to expect. And it's removed from our views or our, perception of what's going on in the world. So then when we hear about it, we're like shock and awe. And I mean, one, I think that has a lot to do with how the media is. Like, I don't listen to the news at all. I don't have news apps on. If something comes up on my Facebook scroll where it's like, suggestions or highlights, I hide it immediately. I remove access to those things, because what I am not going to do is start my day off with death, destruction, mayhem, secondary trauma when I go to work and experience vicarious trauma. Like, I'm not doing that. I'd rather show up for my clients than be like, did you hear the latest round of blah, blah, blah? Like, I'm not doing that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I thought that was an interesting excerpt. I was like, holy shit, right on the money. That makes sense.
Well, and this topic was brought about by somebody who actually requested it. It was a very specific topic that she wanted to talk about, which we can definitely touch base on. It was more so, she wanted to know, how do I support a partner who's lost a child? I don't have that experience, thank God, right? I can't even fathom what that would be like. I have been with a partner who's lost parents, and that was very difficult. I think the biggest thing when you are supporting another person in your life who's lost somebody is just to be patient, right? Be present and be patient. Don't rush them. Don't judge them. Don't tell them what they should or shouldn't be doing, because first of all, it's not your place. Second of all, there's no fucking handbook on grief. Right. To say after 3 weeks, this is where you'll be. And then after another 6, you'll have it resolved and you'll be fine. And you'll be fine.
What to expect.
Exactly. What to expect when expecting. That does not prepare you for fucking
birth
and pregnancy and all the shit afterwards. I'm sorry, but it does not. Anyways, that is not what we're talking about today. Right. But I think it's very important that people actively listen. Right? Don't listen just to respond. Listen to what your partner, your friend, whomever is experiencing. What do they need? And the other thing too is sometimes they may not be telling you what they need for whatever reason, right? You have to make the determination if, okay, well, I'm going to show up anyways. Even if they're saying, no, don't come over, blah, blah, I'm going to show up anyways, because I feel like I need to know that they're okay. Or I feel like I need them to know that I'm here. Right. And that can look like so many different things. Excuse me. Remember when I feel like it was after your grandpa passed. Yeah. And you came over because we were doing a masterclass. Yes. And you came over after the funeral. And I was like, do you need a hug or do you not? I'm going to touch you so you don't get upset. And you're like, don't touch me because I will get upset. And I was like, okay, that's all I needed to know. Right. Because I didn't want to assume that I knew what you needed in that moment, because I'm the same. If you ask me what's wrong and I'm already upset, I'm going to be a blubbering mess because I can't talk about it in that moment. Right. It seems like little things, but it's not, right? You're actively showing, I care, I'm here. Please let me know what you need type deal situation. Yeah. Let me look.
I think what plays another part into this scenario we were just talking about of having a partner who's lost a child. Another thing to me that plays into that is the nature in which the loss has happened. Sure. I think that sudden losses versus impending losses, that's coming. Hear me when I say this, does not make the loss any easier, does not make the grieving process any easier. I think there is just a different understanding. I think what also has to be understood is that there will be new waves of grief for the rest of that person's life, in the sense of having to grieve what age they would have been, what milestone they would have hit, what their life could have looked like. Because when you have a child, you immediately think of everything. Sure. When I had Soph, I immediately thought of what her life would be like and what I wanted it to look like. So you have to put to rest those those memories you've created in your head, those visions, those hopes, those dreams, wishes that you've created for that person when something like this happens. I also have that same talk with parents who are parents of children who then children, adults, whatever, who identify as transgender.
Sure.
You have to put to loss what you thought the life of your child was going to look like. It's going to be different now. It doesn't mean that it's automatically going to be this negative thing. It just means it's going to be different. Yep. So instead of projecting your hopes, dreams, wishes, perceptions of what their life would look like, grieve that and allow that grief to then remove and make space for the new memories and experiences and life that they're going to have.
Well, have the grieving period. Right?
Yes.
Experience that loss, right?
Yes.
But then let's move on to radical acceptance, because you fighting the reality of the situation is not going to change that situation.
And let me be nitpicky. Instead of moving on to radical acceptance, let's move forward with that grief. Move forward with it.
Sure. Process
through it. Because again, there's going to be stages in that. If you thought your child was your daughter who was born with female parts, who now is transitioned to a male, if you thought your daughter was going to walk down the aisle in a dress, you have to put that to bed and grieve that. And then take that and move forward to now, how do I express, or how do I view what this now could look like?
Sure.
There could still be a wedding. There could still be walking down the aisle. There could still be all of those things, and possibly even more joyful, because your child is living as who they are.
Yep.
Instead of whatever. But we'll put that to rest now, because I don't want to get too far on that, because that's a different topic.
Sure.
We're talking about, well, it's not a different topic, but it's a tangent, and I want to stay on the path. So, did you see anything in your notes that fits right now?
No, there was one quote that I found. I read for my research. I didn't watch anything. I read. But it was
so different. I love it.
Just like you do audiobooks, like it's hard for me. I have to hold a physical book. I have to.
I was like, what is the fastest way I can get this done? Literally, I'm not getting that's how I view everything. What is the fastest way I can do this?
How can I get a 30-minute workout done in 5 minutes?
Well, easy. Hit cardio. Burpees. That is the hold a bear plank for a little bit. Jesus. That is you hold that bitch for 5 minutes, it will absolutely feel like 30.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. But the one quote that I found, it was talking about our nervous system, right? And like hypervigilance. And so it said our nervous system is activated by the emotional threats of grief, and our brains are hypervigilant to finding answers. And I think that's more so tied to traumatic or abrupt, loss of a person, because then, how do you can hear me when I say you can, but how do you reprogram your thoughts of like, well, this person died. Now this person's going to die. I don't want to get close to anybody because they're just going to die. Right. I have a client who, her dad passed when she was young. And so she's got this like pretty significant health anxiety because of it, because she's like, well, he died young. Am I going to die young because I'm his daughter? Right. And that like spirals pretty quickly, but little things trigger that response, whether it's like a reminder of a doctor's appointment, or I have this weird feeling, or you know what I'm saying? And so I think when you lose someone significant at a young age, not that it doesn't impact, okay, rewind. Death is going to impact you no matter what, right? The acuity of it is different for everybody. I think for me personally, as I've gotten older, I have a better understanding and acceptance of it, because I know that it's a part of life. When I did the gang guidance session this past week, it was about radical acceptance, and I brought up death, right? So when I was 19, I lost a friend in a car accident, and I had seen him literally 2 days before, and I was like, he's not dead. I just fucking saw him. When you're 19, you don't think your fucking friends are going to die. Yeah. You think of old people are going to die, right? Like,
yes.
But then in high school, I had 2 of my very best friends lose parents, and you don't think you're going to lose your parents when you're that young either. Right. And so I think because I've had those experiences, not that it would make it easy for me to lose my parents. That's never going to be easy, but it has given me a different understanding of what that looks like for people and how they manage it, what they do, how they deal with it. And it's not a smooth ride for anybody.
No.
Like it's a
No.
zigzag road forever, I feel like.
Yes. When over 2020 in August, the beginning of August, I lost my grandma. And then December 2nd, I want to say that's his birthday.
I think it was the first.
December 1st, I lost my papa. So watching those two families, because my mom is one of 6. Yes. Aunt Debbie, Uncle Tim, Uncle Mike, Uncle Pat, Uncle Jim. Yeah, she's one of 6.
This is real life.
I was like, do I have another uncle? Can't remember. And then my dad is one of 12. 11 or 10 are still with us. So watching those two families move through grief was eye-opening. It was eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of avenues that have to be taken and understood and discussed. And I almost think it makes it harder when there's more surviving family members to be able to work through some of those things, because there's so many emotions to be experienced. And if you can't sit in that vulnerability with your siblings and the wide variety that is coming, it definitely makes for some very high intense moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing that I noticed in those the last half of the year.
When my father-in-law passed, I made a joke after the fact, because it wasn't a lighthearted service by any means. He was in the military. They did like the taps, and everybody fucking lost it at that point, because that was like a lot.
I never make it. You play taps, I'm done. It could
as soon as they started, I was like, I'm fucking done for it.
Girl, it could be March 13th, and I'd be like, oh, I have the taps on. Like the second it starts playing. Every Memorial Day, we watch a parade. They play the taps. I'm sobbing. Something. What is it? A horn? What is it?
I think so. Like it's a horn, a trumpet.
Yeah, trumpet.
Some sort.
Yes.
Yes.
Trumpet of some sort.
Whatever. Yeah. But like after that, people got up and like talked fondly of him, right? And like shared memories, and it was funny and it was adorable. So afterwards, we were like in the parking lot, just kind of hanging around and talking. And I was talking to my dad, and I was like, I want you to know that when you pass away, I'm going to be up there cussing like a motherfucker and making people laugh. I'm going to be so inappropriate because that's who I am. He was like, oh, I'd expect nothing less. And I was like, I'm going to play wrestling music. Like, it's going to be so great. It's going to be so great. Because my mom has always told me, when I die, you are not allowed to wear black. I want to have music playing. I want you guys to be happy. I want you to celebrate. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, okay, Mom, it's going to be a sad day. Like, how could I do that? Right. But now I'm like, no, that actually makes sense. Right. Yeah. Like, yes, I'm mourning the loss of so-and-so, but I'm also celebrating the fact that you were a part of my life. And I'm so thankful for that. Right. And
that ties back to that excerpt of like, now it's become this private, like unspoken thing. Like in other countries, they celebrate it. Mm-hmm. They celebrated of that life that person had, and that who they were. Mm-hmm. We lost 2020 was a year of death for me.
Yes, it was.
My friend Andrew Reeves passed in February, I believe it was. It's hard to keep. Oh my God, my aunt died in March. I forgot. I was like, I've got another death in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my aunt died in March. Jesus Christ. Sorry, Mom. There was a lot. So his funeral was all of his friends standing up and having their recollection of their favorite memories of him. And it was like hilarious. Like there were so many good memories to be able to listen to people reminisce on and bring up. And it was, I would hope that for my funeral, or, people that I'm close to, that we take on that aspect.
You know what I expect from you? I expect you to present. I expect you to present our Snapchat videos of Marla and Darla and say, this is what we did in our life.
I will personally email Snapchat and ask them to bring it back so I can videotape myself. Literally, like I won't even speak at your funeral. I'll just videotape it, and it's going to play for everybody. It's gonna be like, hey guys, I want to let you know that.
Are you effing crazy?
Hey, are you Marla or Darla?
I don't remember.
I think you're Darla.
I think you're right.
I just want you to know that Darla's dead. She passed away. Stay safe.
Oh my God.
Ah,
And this is
So,
not
yeah.
to make light of loss, you guys, right? But like also, you have to be able to see all different perspectives, right?
Yes.
Not everybody deals with hard things with humor. I fucking do, because
I
otherwise I'll
do.
just cry all the time.
I literally don't know how to deal with anything else besides humor. Like this, I'm literally like, I'm a shitty person. Just kidding. Like humor is always the gateway because it allows people to get out of their head.
Yes.
So it's interesting that you're saying the physical aspect, the nervous system.
Mhm.
I don't know why I'm doing that. So weird. Like, stop it. So in the book, there was 5 dimensions of grief. So the first dimension was stress reactions. So this can increase vulnerability to illnesses and whatnot. So it's Steph and I are very aware that when we are stressed out, our bodies are like,
Our
here we
immune
go.
system just disappears, is essentially what happens.
I'm literally sick where I can't handle anything. I'm crying. It doesn't make, like, I came home yesterday and I was crying on the way into the house and Jeff was like, what's going on? And I was like, and I just like was like, I need a moment. And I was like crying. He was like, he went outside, put his headphones on, cut the grass. Like he was like, I'm not dealing with this bitch. Oh my God. And so then he came.
Respected your boundary as
He did. I worked out, I showered, I came back upstairs, and then he came in and he was like, so what's going on today, Buttercup? And I was like, so this is what happened. Because I had taken a moment to myself to be able to calm down and do all that.
Had you not, you probably would have just yelled at him, right?
Oh, guarantee I would have.
Problem.
Oh, I wouldn't have yelled at him, but I would have been passive. I would have been passive aggressive. Absolutely. Because that is my go-to with a partner, passive aggressive. Absolutely. If I am not in my, I'm gonna poke myself. If I'm not in my wise mind, good thing I got these blue light blockers.
I got my safety goggles on for podcasting today.
For ASMR. They catch this light too. It looks like a ring light, but it's just like one of those like trumpet desk lights. It's like cheap version of a ring light.
Oh my God.
Because I'm like, I'm not spending fucking $15 on a ring light. Like, what the hell? Because I'm literally crying. It's so funny to me. Oh no, it's because I didn't eat and then I ate. Guys, sugar affects me. It's because I didn't eat. Now I'm just going to be a giggling mess, which is so not great on a grief podcast.
This might help if it's a hard topic for some people.
Ever since I was little, guys, I get a drop of sugar and I'm like, okay. I don't even know where the fuck I was, so I'm just going to go back to my list. Yes. I was like, I'm going back to my notes. So the second dimension, and again, it did not say in the book whether these are chronological, so
sure.
I think they're just letting you know. The second one is perceptions and thoughts are affected by what has gone on. So perceptions and thoughts can look like thoughts of, is it always going to be like this? Or perceptions of it like, well, they died like this because now somebody else is going to die like this, or this relationship failed, so now all my relationships are going to fail. Then we enter into a spiritual crisis. I shouldn't have phrased it like that because then that's making it chronological. Next could be a spiritual crisis of asking or trying to figure out the why. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why am I being punished? It's this internalization, and then looking at the universe, God, whoever you believe in, doesn't matter. Looking at the bigger picture or the bigger entity and asking, why is this happening to me? 4 is family and communal responses to loss. So again, that like, we should really move on. Like, this is really holding you back, blah, 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 blah. And then 5 is cultural heritage and current support systems have a great influence on how we express loss and our coping skills to do that. So some cultural heritages may have traditions where it is celebrated and it's like open, like doesn't the Jewish this is gonna okay, I'm not even gonna phrase it with a judgment. I might be speaking from a naive standpoint. However, I feel like in movies it's been portrayed that the Jewish people have what's called Shiva. Have you ever seen okay, so on a couple of movies, and I think one of them is, I can't remember the name, but it was a movie in the 2010s, and it was a bunch of big actors coming together because the loss of their mom. Jennifer Aniston was in it. Whatever. So they have what is called Shiva, and it's like where you
Is that the Family Stone?
Yeah.
I just know of the movie because I'm a movie person. I've never seen it, but yes.
I don't think it's Jennifer Aniston.
I think she is in it.
Okay, because Rachel McAdams is in it too.
Okay.
And I very well could be placing the wrong thing that I'm thinking of on that movie, but that movie is about grief and it's really freaking cute, so you should watch it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave Shiv there because you should watch it next. So it is this like where you sit with your family, and my perception, my assumption is you sit with your family and you mourn and discuss stories and you eat and there's fellowship. So like different things like that. Like with my family, with my aunt was right in the very beginning of COVID, so we barely could have a service. Sure. My grandma, we were able to have a service because it was towards the end of the summer, so things weren't as tight as it is now. Yeah, we were able to have the service. My papa had a service. Mm-hmm. I swear to God, I blocked these things out. I was like, oh my God, I don't remember my papa's service. Yeah. So, and Andy had a service because it was right before COVID hit us. So like some of those things are different though, but like none of it was like, we didn't like sit in fellowship as a family. We didn't get together. We didn't like, none of those things happened afterwards. And some was because of COVID and some was because it wasn't. So it's just very interesting to see like how different cultures take on different expressions.
Italians are wild when it comes to grief.
Yeah.
Not me, but like wearing black for a year, not leaving the house for so many months, lighting a candle every day for the person. Like it's excessive.
My Atlanta.
It's excessive. I don't participate in it because that's not how I grieve, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not wearing black.
I mean, it's like my norm anyways.
I mean, I do it like to be appropriate, but like I'm not doing that for longer than the 3 hours that we're gonna. Yikes. I'm kind of upset that my headphones are black. Like that's how much I don't like black. Anyways, so then the next takeaway I had from reading that book, or skimming, we'll say, was 3 tasks to take place to recover. So the first one was intellectual recognition and explanation of the loss. Mm-hmm. So you have to come to an understanding, otherwise we can't move forward. There has to be an understanding that the loss has happened, that recognition. That person isn't coming back, that relationship isn't carrying on, the friendship was lost, whatever it is, you have to come to understanding about that. The second is emotional acceptance of the loss. So you have to reach a point where reminders don't hurt anymore. You may distance yourself early on as a respite from the pain. So like if your favorite song was this, we may not engage in that song for a little while because it's too painful. Mm-hmm. And you're experiencing pain on an everyday basis due to the loss having been so recent. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then the third one is assumption of a new identity. So we have to develop a new identity that reflects new circumstances of life. And it happens when the user, the person, becomes uncomfortably aware of the world that was and the world that is. So those are 3 ways to break down, like maybe where am I in this grieving process? What does that look like?
I think the end all be all message of that though, honestly, is like to stop fighting reality and recognize what is actually happening or what did happen. And that's not meant to sound harsh and mean and insensitive, but that's like the facts of the situation, right?
It is the facts of the situation. The loss has occurred.
Yeah.
There is nothing we can do to bring that loss or remove that loss from our life. It has happened. So
And that doesn't mean that you invalidate your feelings of this is so fucking unfair. You're absolutely right. It is. It's not okay. It's not fair. You don't agree with it. But the fact of the matter is that it happened.
Mm-hmm. See, humor. I don't know what to do now. I think it was a good episode. I think this was concise. I'm really glad that we didn't go into the 5 stages of death and dying. Everybody knows them and tries to implement them. But here's the thing. That's not necessarily, I don't want to say it's not accurate anymore, but that was done in the 60s. Like, it is now 2021.
Well, it's a very rigid thing that I think people get confused about and feel like, well, I have to be in this stage now. I should be in this stage now. According to fucking who? I'll wait.
I'll wait too. Shit. Pull up. Who? Yeah. Okay.
That was a good one.
It was.
It's
All right,
episode
guys.
26, by the way. I know this is the end of it, but this is episode 26.
Hey, episode 26. You can find us on socials. I have to take this off because the screen is looking like I have a filter on my face and I do not. Bags and all people. Because it was like the light was like coming down looking at the kind of Snapchat filter. It was driving me nuts. As always, you can find us. Steph is at SpookyFitMom13 on Instagram. I am at BEA_XO11. We are at Rewriting Her Story Podcast.
Where can you find us on YouTube, Mari?
You can find us at Rewriting Her Story Podcast. Shut up. I was literally forgot that we have that. Because we put one at my goal today. But I don't think I'll make it today. It's definitely going to be tomorrow, is to upload 2 PS episodes.
Sweet.
If not 2 PS episodes, at least the introductory video of us being like, did you hear the clap? Did I hear the clap? How do you make this go? It was hilarious. So, yes, we are now on YouTube.
Yes, and you can now subscribe to the podcast for the extra goodies. So if you go to the link in our bio on Instagram, it is the very first tab in the link tree to subscribe. It's $2.99 a month. You are going to get extras like PS episodes.
Yep.
When we start interviewing people, that's where they'll go. Part 2s of things like the sexy episode, that's going to go there. And it's a learning process, like a learning curve. So bear with us as we do it because, you know, this is the first time, but we already have subscribers, which just like makes my heart explode. Like,
yes.
Again, I know we say this all the time, but I don't think you guys truly know how much we appreciate you guys for always supporting us and like being a ride or die all the time.
I really, really, really want to find a new word besides appreciate, because I know that we say like, you guys really don't know, but like you seriously don't understand how much it means to me to be able to sit and discuss mental health topics with my best friend. Like I love it. I look forward to it. I get excited about it. So it makes me so happy. I feel I am living my dream and my purpose for my life. And there is not a greater feeling on this earth.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a word that's big enough to really describe how we feel.
I agree. Absolutely. Okay. We will talk to you guys again soon. Okay. Cheerio. Good eye. It was like British then Australian.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.